Let me tell you something that changed how I understood men forever. The questions that matter most don't sound like they matter at all. When a woman has been thinking about you romantically, she doesn't ask if you're single. She doesn't ask what you're looking for. She asks things that seem almost random until you realize what she's actually doing. She's building a map of your interior world because she's already imagining herself inside it. I've been that woman. I've asked these exact questions while pretending they meant nothing. And once you see the pattern, you'll catch it every single time. 1. She asks what you were like before she knew you. You're mid-conversation about something completely unrelated. Maybe work, maybe a trip you took, and she interrupts with a question that catches you off guard. She asks what you were like 5 years ago, or in college, or before you moved to this city. Most guys answer this literally. They list facts, jobs, hobbies, haircuts. They miss what's actually happening. She's not curious about your history. She's curious about the version of you she didn't get to witness. She's retroactively placing herself into your timeline because her mind has already started imagining a longer story with you in it. When a woman asks about who you used to be, she's mentally extending the relationship backward. She wants to understand the full arc of you, not just the slice she can currently see. That kind of curiosity doesn't come from casual interest. 2. She asks if you've noticed something different about her lately. This one hides in plain sight. She mentions she's been trying something new. Maybe she's been working out, or sleeping better, or finally sticking with that thing she kept starting and stopping. Then she asks if you've noticed. Here's what most men miss entirely. She's not fishing for a compliment. She already knows she looks different or feels different. What she's testing is whether you're paying the kind of attention that matters, the kind that notices shifts, not just surfaces. She wants to know if you see her closely enough to catch what's changed, because that level of attention signals something specific. If you respond with something generic, the question dies, and so does the moment. But if you answer with something precise, something that tells her you've actually been watching, you've just confirmed what she was hoping. That you're already paying attention the way someone pays attention when they care. And here's the part most guys never realize. She wouldn't have asked unless she wanted you to pass. She set this up because she's hoping you'll prove her right. 3. She asks what you think about when you can't sleep. You're texting late, or maybe sitting somewhere quiet together, and she asks this question like it just floated into her mind. What do you think about at night when sleep won't come? It sounds philosophical, almost impersonal, but that framing is deliberate. She's asking for access to the unfiltered version of your mind, the one that exists when no one's watching and nothing's performing. She wants to know what occupies you when the lights go off and the distractions disappear, because she's been lying awake thinking about you, and she wants to know if there's any chance you've been doing the same. Most men either deflect or give a shallow answer. They talk about work stress or random worries, but she's not asking about your to-do list. She's asking about the thoughts you don't say out loud, the ones that feel too real or too revealing. When a woman asks this question, she's handing you an invitation to go deeper. If you meet her there, you've just opened a door that doesn't close easily, and she's counting on exactly that. If this is clicking for you and you're ready to start catching what you used to miss, leave dialed in the comments. I want to see who's actually applying this. 4. She asks if a song has ever made you think of someone. This one comes disguised as small talk. You're in the car together or music's playing in the background, and she asks if you've ever heard a song that made you think of someone. Not a specific song, the concept itself. She's not asking about the song. She's asking if you're the kind of person who attaches emotion to moments, who lets memory bleed into music, who feels things long after they've passed. She's testing your emotional bandwidth because she's wondering if there's room in your inner world for her to leave a mark. If you answer yes, and especially if you can name the feeling without naming the person, she files that away. You just confirmed something she needed to know. 5. She asks how you handle it when someone disappoints you. You're talking about a frustrating situation, maybe a friend who flaked or a coworker who dropped the ball, and she asks how you deal with it when people let you down. Her voice is calm. The question seems general, but she's not asking about your conflict resolution style. She's asking because she's already thinking about what happens if she disappoints you someday. She's running future scenarios, not because she's planning to hurt you, but because she's imagining a relationship where that possibility exists, where stakes are real, where she'd actually care what you thought. Most men answer with something detached. They talk about moving on or lowering expectations, but she's listening for something else. Whether you hold space for people to be human, whether disappointment makes you disappear or makes you talk. She's measuring how safe it would be to actually need you. 6. She asks what your apartment smells like. This one sounds bizarre until you understand what's underneath it. You're describing your place. Maybe she's never been there, or maybe she's asking you to describe something mundane, and she asks what it smells like. Candles? Coffee? Laundry? She's not making conversation. She's building a sensory picture in her mind because she's already imagining being there. She wants to know if your space would feel like somewhere she could exist, somewhere that smells familiar or warm or like something she'd want to wake up inside. When a woman asks about smell, she's engaging the most memory-linked sense there is. She's imagining proximity she hasn't experienced yet. Don't overthink your answer. Just know that the question itself tells you more than the words. 7. She asks if you ever rehearse conversations before having them. You're talking about something that happened, maybe a difficult call you had to make, or an argument you navigated, and she asks if you ever practice what you're going to say before you say it, like in your head, or out loud. She's asking because she does this, and she's wondering if you do it about her. She's wondering if you've ever stood in front of a mirror or paced your room running through how to say something to her, because she has. And if you admit that you rehearse too, she suddenly feels less alone in how much this already matters. This question is a confession disguised as curiosity. She's hoping your answer will make her feel seen. 8. She asks what you were going to say but didn't. This one hits different. You pause mid-sentence, or you trail off, or you visibly stop yourself, and she catches it. She asks what you were about to say, what you held back. Most guys brush this off. They claim it was nothing, or they redirect. But here's what she's actually doing. She's telling you she's paying close enough attention to notice when you censor yourself. She caught the gap between what you almost said and what you chose to say instead, and she wants in. When a woman asks for the words you swallowed, she's asking for the unfiltered version of you. She wants the thought you deemed too honest, too revealing, too risky, because she's ready for that version. She might even be hoping that what you held back had something to do with her. 9. She asks if there's a version of you that people don't usually get to see. She frames it casually. Maybe she says she feels like there's more to you than what you show, and she wonders if other people see it too, or if most of them don't. She's not really asking about other people. She's asking if you'd let her be the exception. She's asking for access to the private rooms of who you are, the version that's tired, unguarded, weird, soft, intense, whatever you normally keep behind the surface. Most men either deflect this or give a performance of depth without actually revealing anything. But if you answer honestly, if you name something real that you don't usually show, she'll remember that moment for a long time, because she just got closer than she expected, and that changes how the whole thing feels. This is where something shifts. The questions stop being tests and start becoming confessions she's not ready to say directly. Stay with me here, because what happens in the next few points reveals the pattern underneath all of them. 10. She asks what makes you go quiet. You've gone still. Maybe the conversation lulled or something landed differently than she expected. And instead of filling the silence herself, she asks why you went quiet. What just happened in your head? Here's what most men don't understand about this question. She's not uncomfortable with the silence. She's curious about what it contains. She wants to know what you're thinking when you stop talking, because silence around someone you have feelings for is never empty. It's charged. And she felt that charge too. When a woman asks what makes you go quiet, she's asking for emotional access to the moments you don't narrate. She's watching the pauses as closely as she's listening to the words. And she's hoping, maybe more than she'd admit, that at least one of those silences had something to do with her. This is the shift. Everything before this was her gathering information. Everything after this is her starting to show her hand. 11. She asks if you've ever changed your mind about someone. She brings this up like it's a thought experiment. Have you ever met someone and thought one thing about them, then completely shifted your opinion later? Maybe someone you dismissed who turned out to be important, or someone you were sure about who ended up surprising you. She's not asking about other people. She's asking about herself. She wants to know if there's room in your perception for revision, because somewhere in her mind, she's wondering whether you've changed your view of her since you first met, whether she started as one thing and became something else, whether the version of her you see now is different from the version you saw at the beginning, and whether that shift moved in the direction she's hoping. If you answer yes, and especially if you describe what that change felt like, she'll be listening for clues. She's hoping you're describing something that sounds familiar, something that sounds like the way she's started to feel about you. 12. She asks what you were doing when she texted. This one's quick but loaded. She texts you and you respond a few minutes later, and she asks what you were up to. Not because she's suspicious, not because she's checking in. She wants to picture you. She wants to know if you were at your desk, on the couch, walking somewhere, lying in bed. She's placing herself into your day from a distance. She's imagining where your hands were, what your face looked like, how close your phone was to you when her name appeared on your screen. Don't overthink this one. Just notice it. That question means she's been thinking about you when you're not around, and she's hoping you've been doing the same. 13. She asks if you remember the first thing she ever said to you. This one stops the conversation. She asks it quietly, almost playfully, but underneath there's weight. Do you remember the first thing I said to you? The first time we talked? Most guys panic. They scan their memory and either make something up or admit they don't remember. But here's what she's really asking. Have I been important to you from the beginning? Or did I become important later? She remembers. She remembers exactly what she said, what you said back, what she was wearing, what the air felt like. She's been replaying that moment, and she wants to know if it lives in your memory too. If you remember, tell her. If you don't, tell her what you do remember. The first thing you noticed, the first thing that stuck. She's not testing your memory. She's asking whether the origin of this thing mattered to you the way it mattered to her. 14. She asks how you know when you actually like someone. This one sounds almost academic. She phrases it like she's curious about human behavior in general. How do you know when it's real? When it's not just attraction or habit or convenience, but something that actually means something? She's not asking about your philosophy. She's asking about your criteria and whether she meets it. She wants to hear you describe the signals you trust, the feelings you take seriously, the patterns that tell you this one's different. Because while you're talking, she's mentally checking herself against the list. This is one of the clearest questions a woman can ask without directly asking. She's saying, tell me the shape of what matters to you, so I can figure out if I fit inside it. 15. She asks if you think some people just fit together. You're talking about relationships in the abstract, maybe about a couple you both know, or about timing, or about how some people just seem to make sense together. And she asks if you believe in that. If you think compatibility is something you build or something you just feel. She's asking because she's felt it with you, and she's wondering if you've felt it too. She's not asking about fate or soulmates. She's asking whether you trust the feeling that some people just click without having to force it. Because that's how being around you has started to feel for her, and she wants to know if you recognize it too. Your answer here doesn't need to be romantic, but she'll be listening for whether you leave room for the idea that some things don't need to be explained. They just work, because she's hoping this is one of them. If you've made it this far, you already know this is hitting different. Go ahead and drop a like. Then subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. 16. She asks what you would have done differently with her. This one stops you cold. She asks it like she's half joking, but her eyes stay steady. If you could go back to when you first met, or to some moment between then and now, is there anything you'd do differently? She's not looking for regret. She's looking for investment. She wants to know if you've replayed moments the way she has, if there are things you wish you'd said sooner, or risks you wish you'd taken. She's asking whether this thing between you has mattered enough for you to wonder about alternate versions. Most men deflect or give a safe answer. But if you tell her something real, a moment you'd have held longer, a conversation you'd have pushed further, a hesitation you'd take back, you're telling her that this has weight for you too. And that's exactly what she's hoping to hear. 17. She asks if you ever think about timing. She asks this like it's just a stray thought. Do you ever wonder if timing matters? Whether meeting someone earlier or later changes everything? She's thinking about you. She's wondering what would have happened if you'd met at a different point in her life, or yours. Whether things would have moved faster or slower. Whether the circumstances you're both in now are helping or getting in the way. This question is a door she's opening without walking through it. She's inviting you to acknowledge that this thing between you exists inside a specific window, and that the window matters. If you answer honestly, you're stepping into the conversation she's been wanting to have. 18. She asks what you're afraid to want. This one cuts deep. She asks it late at night or in a moment where the usual walls have thinned. What are you afraid to want? What do you stop yourself from hoping for because wanting it feels like too much of a risk? She's not asking about goals or ambitions. She's asking about the things you've trained yourself not to reach for, because wanting them would make rejection unbearable. She's asking because she feels this way about you. She wants something she hasn't said out loud, and she's terrified that naming it will make it disappear. If you answer with something real, something that takes courage to admit, she'll feel less alone in what she's feeling, because she's been wanting something too. And she's hoping, more than she'd ever say, that what you're afraid to want has something to do with her. This is where the subtext stops being subtle. Everything after this is her showing you her hand. 19. She asks if you feel this too. She might not use those exact words. It might come out as, "Is this weird? Are we okay? Do you think about this as much as I do?" But underneath all of it is the same question. She's asking if the thing she's feeling is mutual. If the tension she's carrying is something you're carrying too. This is the riskiest question a woman can ask, because she's admitting that there's something to feel. She's stepping out of plausible deniability and into the open. She's no longer gathering information. She's asking you to meet her where she already is. Most men fumble this moment because they don't realize what's happening. They give vague answers or wait too long to respond. But she's not asking for certainty. She's asking for honesty. She's asking you to confirm that whatever's been building isn't only in her head. If you feel it too, say so. Not with a speech, not with a grand gesture, just something true. Because this moment is the one she'll remember. This is the one that decides what comes next. 20. She asks where this is going without using those words. She doesn't say, "Where is this going?" That would be too direct, too exposing. Instead, she asks something adjacent. She asks what you're doing next weekend, then watches how you answer. She asks if you've told anyone about her, then studies your face. She asks if you're happy, and the question hangs in the air with more weight than the words should carry. She's asking for a signal, not a commitment, not a definition, just a sign that you see the same road she sees, that you're not just enjoying this moment, but imagining the ones that could come after. She's trying to understand if this thing is going somewhere, or if she should start protecting herself from hoping. You don't need to have all the answers, but if you want her to know she's not alone in this, show her. Tell her something that points forward, something that lets her know the door she's been standing in front of is actually open, because she's been waiting to walk through it. She just needs to know you'll be on the other side. Recognizing these questions doesn't mean overanalyzing every conversation. It means understanding when a woman has already started thinking about you differently, and noticing the moments she's quietly asking you to meet her there. Because questions like these rarely stay casual forever. They either lead somewhere real, or they stop getting asked altogether. And once you start hearing what's underneath her words, the next thing you'll notice is what happens when she's near you physically. The way she hugs you, how long she holds on, where her hands go. These carry just as much meaning as anything she says. The next video breaks down exactly what different kinds of hugs actually mean, the ones most men completely misread, and what she's really communicating when her body closes the distance her words haven't yet.